Friday, January 5th, 2024. I'm really looking forward to summer, I think. Um, okay. So this is very upsetting. The View talked in their hot topics about the Republican town halls that were on CNN last night. Um, and I find it very telling that there was yet another school shooting yesterday where a sixth grader was killed. The shooter killed themselves, and I think you know a handful of other students were or people. I don't know if they were students and teachers. Were injured, and it happened in Iowa where the town halls were happening, and it didn't even get a mention on the program today, which is sort of a sad state of affairs of where we are in this country in just sort of accepting that they're a part of a part of our culture. And I will just both of them were asked about school about gun violence yesterday in there. It was the first question for both of them, each of them. And DeSantis said he wants to see uh, the background checks happen instantaneously. That doesn't help. They're when you're talking about crimes of passion, you don't want somebody able to run out, buy a gun, and then go home and shoot whoever they were mad at. That's the whole point of a waiting period, so that you don't have those acts of passion that are happening with a gun. Um, excuse me. Nikki Haley said mental health. We have to work on mental health, but that means you have to give people access to mental health, which means you have to pay for it. That's now we're talking about if you want to provide people with uh, access to mental health professionals and keep people healthy mentally, then it needs to be covered. It needs to be paid for. You can't just expect people out of pocket to pay for that. But that flies in the face of everything that the GOP stands for, is actually helping people. So that's just a disingenuous, intellectually dishonest answer from her, and his is just moronic. And I know that everybody always says nobody's trying to take the guns away, but yeah, we should take the fucking guns away. You want to be a Second Amendment, um, you know, uh, fundamentalist? Fine. Here's your musket. Everything else can go. That's what you get. You get a musket. That's what it was. That's what was available when that was written. That's what you can have. Although I'm not really opposed to people having hunting rifles for hunting. Hunting, by the way, is something you need a license for. You have to actually ask permission and get a permit to go hunt. Um, so, which isn't the dangerous part. The part is the gun. I'm so frustrated with the gun nuts, and I know it won't go anywhere. But people talk about, oh, Hamas is using people and Palestinians as a human shield, uh, to keep them safe. Isn't that what the GOP is doing with school kids, with everybody's lives? Is putting everybody's, you know, sort of bare body in front of them in the line of fire, so that they can hold on to their precious money from the NRA. Like, how is that really any different? Um, we are human shields for fucking politicians who won't pass any kind of gun legislation of any consequence. I know there was some slight gun reform that was passed that everybody was like, woo, and I'm like, oh, baby steps is better than no steps. But you know what? Fuck that. I mean, no, not fuck that. Baby steps are better than no steps, but still, Jesus H fucking Christ. Um, so that rant, what didn't happen on the View today, but they did talk about the debate, in which Nikki Haley really stuck her foot in it, trying to sort of double down on her. I didn't say slavery because I'm from South Carolina and we just assume slavery. everybody learned about slavery in grade school. Like it wasn't just a South Carolinian thing. We all learned about the Civil War um, really young, and yet that's what we know, that's what that war was about. So she's not doing herself any favors, and I wish that people would just stop dancing around the whole thing. It's a racist dog whistle, 100%. She's and they sort of tried to say she's not trying to upset the base, which are racists. Just say it. I know they dance all around it, and poor Amy Alyssa Fairfowler Griffin was on CNN last night, doing all sorts of word salad around Nikki Haley's performance. Still don't understand why she sticks her neck out so far for Nikki Haley, who she seems to not agree with on most things. So that whole thing is just a weird quandary, and I don't get that whole sort of political ideology and strategy over actually do the right thing, right? And support the people who are actually trying to do the things that you support. I don't understand any of her logic whatsoever. She's getting on my nerves. Um, I did think it was funny that she was given an elephant um, by Anna as a gift. And it's very clear that Anna doesn't like her. Anna doesn't hide that stuff well. Um, I don't think she likes Sunny that much either. Um, there was a little dig in there when she came out to the song Despacita because they were celebrating her birthday. And Sunny said, "It's a Puerto Rican song." And she goes, "Well, that's Latin. Don't specify." Anyway, if there's an ego on that show, I think it's coming from Anna, which is fine. I get a kick out of Anna. I think she thinks she's funnier than she is, but she is she at least doesn't mince her words and follows through on the things that she believes in. However, I'm not a fan of the drag brunch. I don't need some queen screaming and her loose feathers flying into my eggs Benedict and mimosa. I just let me eat my brunch in peace. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about those town halls anymore. Um, then I think they pretty much covered it. The one other thing that happened on the show, I do not like this sort of idolization of this Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She murdered her mother. Well, she had her mother killed. Um, and I I understand the reasons for it, and the abuse that she suffered was awful. But it does feel a little weird to be celebrating a murderer. And I thought it was hilarious when she said, "I did something wrong, and I paid a price for that." And Joyce says, "Oh, don't say that," forgetting the fact that the girl had her mother killed. And then she realizes, she's like, "Oh yeah, that. Well, never mind." Like that. That's the thing that I think is a weird um, phenomenon that is somehow surrounding this particular woman, is that people keep forgetting that she murdered her mother. Um, the Menendez boys uh, are still in prison for murdering their parents. Um, I don't know. I don't think the abuse that they suffered was as deep as Gypsy Rose Blanchard's. And what a terrible burden to name your child Gypsy Rose. Which, by the way, is coming back to Broadway with Nicole Scherzinger. Apparently, she's really good at it. So that's a whole bunch of non sequitur for a Friday and the first week of January. Have a good weekend.